Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to Lisa's Coloring Corner. Today I'm going to show you how to apply metallic foiling to a coloring book page. Now, the most important thing to doing this is you must have this page printed on a laser printer. This is one that I have previously foiled, and I don't know, there you can see the shine. Isn't that pretty? This one I applied rose foil to, and it's called Mink. Let's see, it's called Mink. This is rose gold. And what they suggest, and that's of course because of the brand name, is using their Mink foil applicator. And the Mink foil applicator is like 60 to 80 bucks, and that's all it does is it applies this foiling. So a much more economical option is to just, if you have a laminator already, like I'm going to be using, I just have a Scotch brand laminator that I've had around for a number of years, and I can leave a link in the description to the one I use. But Amazon also has a type of laminator, and they're around 20 bucks, and I will leave a link to that also in the description if you're interested in trying this type of option to a coloring book page. So again, the biggest caveat to this is the page has to be printed out on a laser jet printer. The reason behind this is due to the fact that this foil will adhere to the laser toner that is applied on your page, and it needs that toner to adhere to. An inkjet printer, as the name implies, sprays ink on the page when it prints, and this foiling will not adhere to ink. It has to have that fused toner on the paper in order to adhere to. Now, if you don't happen to have a laser printer, and I know the majority of you probably do not, the inkjet printers are the most popular type of printers out there. You can take a coloring book page either on a flash drive to, say, a Staples or an Office Max. I think even some UPS places have printer facilities to print this out for you. I know Office Max, you can also email it to them and they'll print it out for you. You know, just specify you need it on a printed on a laser printer. So what I thought we would do then is take a coloring book page, and we will print it out or laminate it with foiling. I will also leave a link, if I didn't say so already, to the specific type of foiling I'm using today. There are a lot of options out there, and if you look specifically for Mink, or it's also called, if you can see that, it's also called Heidi Swap, and you can do searches for that also. The link that I'll leave below will be for this specific Heidi Swap, SWAP type of foiling. Again, you can look all over, you know, for this type or for just metallic foiling, and you'll see a lot of options out there. Some are much cheaper than this Mink brand. Another type that I got, and this would be for, you know, smaller pictures, I got this particular set of foiling at HSN. Again, this would be for smaller pictures. Probably, again, like my last video, some of this is geared towards card makers. I have not used this yet because I just tried this on a larger coloring book page, but this would be another option. Okay, so let's get to it. The first thing you're going to need to do is you need a carrier, what they call a carrier, when you put things through a laminator. What I used is just some parchment paper. The first thing I did when I took the parchment paper off the roll. If anybody has done this, you know that it curls horribly. So what I did is I just took up my iron and I ironed it pretty much flat. Then I folded it in half and I cut it so that it's just a little bit bigger than my coloring book page. And I folded it in half, creased it good. Then I took my foiling and I pulled some out and I cut it to size, and I just cut it so that it fit around my design. You don't have to be exact with this, just cut it approximate. You can see mine is pretty jagged. It is kind of hard to work with and you want a nice sharp scissors. I did not, in this particular case, want this outside black line included. I didn't want that foiled. I just want the design underneath foiled. So I cut it to make sure that I did not include this black, because anything that's black on your page is going to get this foiling on. When you put the foiling down, you want to put it shiny side up so that the metallic underside is what's going to adhere to the toner, and your shiny side is going to be what's showing after you're done laminating. You have to be kind of careful when you touch this so you don't scratch the underside. Once you have it where you want it, you put your carrier paper back down, and I am going to bring forward my laminator. Again, this is just a Scotch brand laminator. You can use, again, any type of laminator you have. I always, because this is thicker, I have it at the 5+ mil. If you have just regular paper, you'll want to keep it on the thinner side. And I powered this up a while ago because anybody that has a laminator knows that it takes a while to heat up and get to the ready stage. So what we're going to do then, once you have everything ready, you are just going to put it into your laminator, let it pull it through. I always put mine through twice, just to make sure everything's on there. And we will wait for it to come out the other end. And of course, this takes a little while. And what it's doing is it is fusing this gold foil onto that laser ink or powder that is on the coloring book page. Okay, there we have it. I am going to turn it around and I am going to run this back through a second time. Now, because my main laser printer is kind of out of commission at the moment, I'm having problems with a black toner cartridge that I bought to replace. And so that is my main laser printer. It is a big color laser printer. And when I bought my initial laser printer, it is just a monochrome, just a black printer. And I thought, well, that would be fine. You know, the majority of stuff I print is just black. So I thought, well, that would suffice. Yeah, until I realized it is not a copier. So that small monochrome printer was not going to suffice because I sometimes needed to copy things. I was going to copy a page from a coloring book, a Mandala coloring book, And then, yeah, it was not going to print out right because the toner cartridge, the black toner cartridge that I had in that printer that was capable of doing copying was not going to suffice. It just, the black toner cartridge I have in there, I need to get a new one. So, seeing as how my other black, my monochrome printer did not copy, I had to go onto my phone, find a book that had mandalas in it, and just do a straight print to my other laser printer. So that's what I did in this case. At this moment, I cannot remember which book I got this out of, so I'm going to have to look that up, and I will link that also down in the description. Okay, so let's get this laminator back out of the way, and now I am going to zoom you back in. I wanted to keep you out so that you could see the process. Let's back you out a little bit. Okay, so this is what you end up with. You can almost kind of see the design on it already, and you slowly remove the foiling. And what you end up with is this beautiful foiling on your design. Isn't that pretty? I love it. I just love it. This particular roll that I bought is 12 inches by 10 feet. So it is a little pricey. It's like 10 bucks for one of these rolls, but 10 feet's going to last you quite a while. Again, this is the rose gold. There is gold. I think they also have some other colors out there. There might be like, I think there's red, metallic, green, metallic. So there's a number of colors, and you can also get them in sets. All depends what you know, what color you want to use. I happen to love rose gold, so that's what I used in this case. So what I thought we would do, and I didn't bring my markers over here. I thought we would color with the Cali Art markers and color this in. I am going to have to pause right now and go get my Cali Art markers so that we can color this in. One moment and I'll be right back. Okay, so I am back. These are my Cali Art markers. Many of us have these and love them. I have these in a case. Have them marked because, again, I am OCD about my coloring supplies. This, I believe, is the 80 set or 80 count marker case. I will leave a link to this below also if anybody's interested in getting one of these cases. I like these because the sides open up completely, and then you can kind of close right now because I'm showing the end of it, but this velcros back, so you can have it velcroed and close it up. But when you want to use it, you unvelcro the side and it opens up nice. So we'll open these up. I will put these up out of the way, and then we will look at the color chart that I have. I'm not sure what colors I want to go with on this particular design today. Maybe some blues, huh? I'm going to zoom you back in. Let's see. I think because I had my camera up so high when I was doing that laminating, I'm going to bring it back down, and then I can zoom you out a little. There, that should be a little bit better. Okay, maybe we should go with, like I said, we'll go with some blues, maybe some blues and greens and yellows on this. So maybe a yellow we could use. How about the pastel yellow, Y203, and we have Y203 right here. And then let's maybe go for a pretty blue, or maybe we could do a couple blues. Let's see. How about the baby blue and maybe, or maybe pastel blue and cerulean blue? B203 and 205. 203 and this is 205, yes. Okay, so we'll use those two blues, and then let's maybe get a couple of greens. I'm not sure if we'll be using all these colors or not, but let's pull them out just in case. I like this bud green, 606, so we'll pull a couple of greens too. Maybe 606 and 318 ocean green. 606 and 318. So let's find those. 606 and 318. Okay, so we got our colors picked out. Let's start, and again, while I color, I think I'll zoom you in, and hopefully today I won't get off camera as much as I have been. I apologize for that. I am still getting used to this recording, what direction I got to go when I'm trying to move it around and get into frame, and remembering that I have to move my page as I'm coloring so that you people can see me as I'm recording. So, okay, is that zoomed in enough, or do we need to go in one more? That looks good. Okay, so I think what I'll do is we'll start with yellow in the middle. I still get so nervous making these videos, and I don't know why. You people are all awesome out there. And, you know, like so many of you others are just so at ease recording, and you don't have a problem whatsoever. And then there's me that, I get nervous. Okay, we'll go in with the, I think we'll go in with the darker shade of blue. One nice thing about this foiling too is it kind of resists the marker ink, so it's easier to stay in the lines. Not perfect. I mean, it'll still, you know, feather outside the lines if you're not too careful, but it does kind of help resist the ink. And I am shaky again today for two reasons. One, because of my meds, but mostly because I am so nervous. I sure hope I get over that as I make more videos. Are any of you really, really nervous in the beginning? Those of you that have color tubes? Were you really nervous when you first started out? Run out of things to say, and because yeah, I am just, I don't know, I am still really nervous doing this. I always worry too much about what people think of me, how I sound, do I sound stupid? I've always been like that. You know, I care too much about what people think about how I look, or, you know, just, I guess, things a person shouldn't be as concerned about as I am. I love mowing lawn in the summer, which, yeah, some of you people are like, what? But yeah, I do. I love mowing lawn. And I'm real self-conscious to even wear shorts while I'm mowing lawn. Oh, yeah, that's me. Let's go with the light green for this. I think it'll contrast nicely with the darker blue. Maybe I should use, I probably should use the chisel in here because it's a bigger area, but I just cannot get used to that chisel end. So if I can get away with the fine point and not leave marks with the marker in my coloring, that's what I'll use. And then, especially if it's got a brush nib, I definitely will opt for the brush nib. And that's why I love my Copics. We'll kind of have to keep going both directions here so we don't leave. And here comes my Misty. Okay, Misty, you gotta go. You're in my light. Thank you, baby. Keep going. So, like I said, I don't have an overhead light in this room. And I had to close my patio door blinds today again. Hey, girly, you got to get going. Keep on moving. Keep on moving. Had to close my patio door blinds again today because I don't know if you seen my past video where I said that my desk is sitting right next to my patio door. And when it's sunny out, it shines right across my desk. So I had to close the patio door blinds because the sun is actually shining again today, even though it's bitterly cold out. When I got up, it was 5 below with, I don't know, I think it was like a 10 or 15 below zero wind chill. So yeah, it's horribly cold here. So that sun is very deceiving. But yeah, I had to close the patio door blinds because of the sun streaming in over my desk. But then it gets so dark in here, and like I said, I don't have an overhead light in this particular room. Well, in pretty much, hey girly, you got to get down. In pretty much all of my rooms. This house was built in the 70s. And evidently, when they built houses in the 70s, they didn't believe in overhead lights. All the rooms have their outlets geared so that is it the top or the bottom? I can never remember. But one of the outlets is set to work with the switch on the wall. So evidently every room is supposed to have lamps, and you just switch on the lamp with the switch on the wall. Well, I guess that's okay in some of the rooms. The bedrooms, I guess it isn't the worst. I just, flip on the switch and you make sure that you have your lamps next to your bed plugged in. I think it's the upper outlet. And then it, will turn on the lamp. But in like the living room, or especially this room, like I said in my last video, I think was when this house was built, I think it is considered the family room because it's on the opposite side of my big double-sided wall fireplace. So the living room is over here, and then my, I guess, family room is over here. But it's more my office / toy room for my grandkids / kind of storage room. It's an all-purpose room now, in other words. So yeah, there is no upper light in this room, and this is the one room where I really wish there was an overhead light. It really bothers me. And my boyfriend we even actually bought a light to put in this room, and he was going to install it, but when he looks at the light switch on the wall, it's really hard to tell whether the wiring goes up and down like you would think it would, or because of where the outlet or the light switch is over in the kitchen, if it actually goes sideways. So he has to go up in the attic, up through the garage. There's a little ladder that you pull down, and then he has to go up in the garage up in the rafters to kind of see where the wiring's coming up, and there's insulation, loose insulation and whatnot up there. So yeah, that has not gotten done yet. Would be nice though. I really would like a light in this room, an overhead light. So let's go, and I think I'll do the light blue here then, and we'll do a darker blue in there, or should we do, maybe we'll do yellows in those. Oh, I like this. Yeah, these Cali art markers are just awesome. I can see why they are Anne's favorite. I have a whip. I am, for the first time, attempting to color with marker and then shade over it with colored pencils. And I have not worked with my colored pencils in a long, long time, and I feel so bad about that because I have so many beautiful sets of colored pencils, and you will see them all. I plan on showing my color book swatching all my my coloring supplies, and you will then see what I all have. Like I said before, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but yeah, I'll show you kind of how I keep my swatch book, and I don't know, maybe it'll even give you some ideas on how you can organize your swatches. I know a lot of you have like a regular book that you keep all your swatches in. I know Jennifer Stay from Coloring Bliss has a couple different versions of coloring books for swatching out all your supplies. And those look nice too. I think there's, you know, a number of them that you can get on Amazon. I always turn my coloring book pages when I color, so I hope that doesn't bother any of you. And we'll just go around this mandala. I did also buy, I seen Cali Art had a set of skin tones. And that's another thing I am really trying to get into, is coloring people. That has, I've never had a want to color people. And for some reason, I see all these beautiful pages, and you know how it doesn't look that difficult. Of course, when somebody else is showing you how to do it, it never looks that difficult, does it? They make it look so easy. But I've been watching a number of YouTube videos, tutorials, videorials, is that what you'd call it? To see, you know, just to see how different people do it. There's, you know, many different ways of going about shading with markers. Some go dark to light, some go light to dark, and there's, you know, really no wrong way or right way of doing it. I guess just whatever works best for you. And I just have not found yet what really works best for me. I have to experiment around with it. Right now, the process that I've been following is laying down a layer all over the face, or whatever skin you're doing, with your lightest tone, and then going around the shading, the darkest part of the shading, with your darkest tone, and blending that in with your medium tone, and then going back with the lightest and blending that medium tone in, and it seems to work good. But I have seen others that just start with the dark tone and then blend it in with the medium and then blend in with the light. So you're kind of not having to do the first step of going over everything with the light first. So I don't know. I guess I'll have to try that too. Just play with you know, each type to see what's gonna, you know, work best. For those of you that do color skin, facial features and whatnot, how do you do it? Whether it be with marker, with colored pencil. I just seen, I don't know how recent it was because it could have been up for quite a while. I was watching last night a video of color with clairs, and I could have swore when I initially seen that picture that it was all done with marker. But no, that skin, the face was done with colored pencil, and oh my gosh, it was just gorgeous how that girl can color. Wowie, wowie. She is awesome. I love how she colors. She was last night, well, I was watching it last night anyhow, a video on her coloring hair with colored pencil, and oh, it just is stunning. And it, again, she makes it look so easy. And she kept saying, you know, it is easy. Anybody can do this. And yeah, the way she made it look, anybody could do it. I don't know. I guess a person wouldn't know until they tried, and so. Oh, I got a story for you. Oh, I was so upset. My boyfriend and I have been looking for a, you know, cheaper used car. My car had gone kaput a few months ago, and thankfully my boyfriend has both a van and a car, so I have been driving his car. So yeah, we've been just kind of looking for a very budget-friendly vehicle for me to drive. And I think we'll go back in with the darker blue. And so yeah, we looking for a budget car. He's been watching Craigslist all the time, and I do too, but then he isn't on Facebook at all. And so I watched the marketplace for vehicles also. And I found this beautiful, I think it was a 2006 Pontiac G6. And it had a little bit high miles on it. I think it was like 170 or 180,000. So, you know, it was getting up there, but my Pontiac Sunfire had almost 300,000 on it. So, you know, like Bob, my boyfriend, says, you know, if it's well maintained and, you know, whatnot, he was a mechanic for many, many years, so he knows how to take care of vehicles. So, you know, high miles doesn't necessarily mean everything, especially if the price was right. Well, this vehicle cost, what was it? I think it was $1,400. And the pictures that she had on Facebook, I mean, this car was immaculate. It was just beautiful. It was a pretty silver. Had a lot of bells and whistles. I mean, heated seats. It was just, I mean, it was beautiful. And I thought, oh my gosh, you know, for, you know, $1,400, it's like, oh my gosh. The biggest problem was it was over an hour and a half away. So my boyfriend wasn't too keen on that. But I was messaging back and forth with her. She seemed like just a doll. Very, very nice. But she had to have it gone by Saturday. I'm recording this on Sunday, so it had to be gone by yesterday. And I'm like, oh, geez. And this was, I think it was Wednesday night when I first seen it. And I talked to my boyfriend about it on Thursday. Well, as many of you know, if you've seen my past videos, I babysit my 2-year-old granddaughter Monday through Thursday, and my grandson, my 11-year-old, after school Monday through Friday. So it's like, oh my gosh, I can't imagine driving over an hour and a half with my 2-year-old granddaughter in the back, and then, you know, I have to wait for my grandson doesn't get to my place till between 3:30 and 4. Well, if you're already making a, you know, an hour and a half trip, by the time we would get there and, you know, look at the vehicle, if we have to wait till he got there from school or here from school, and first leave then, I mean, we probably wouldn't be getting over there till after 5, you know, then be there for a while, you know, looking at it, probably taking it for a test drive, which only one of us would probably be able to go because I'd have to stay with my grandkids. Because I definitely, of course, would want him to take it for a test drive. You know, and then if we decided to get it, to, you know, pay for it, get the title transferred over, all that, you know, fun legal stuff. But because she works from 2 to 10 at night, and I'm like, oh my gosh, you know, we can't be leaving at 10 at night. Granted, I would not have my granddaughter then, but oh, holy cow. Can you imagine leaving first at 10 at night? Or, well, we probably could have left at maybe 8:30 and get over by her by, you know, I don't know, say, let's go with a dark green. Say if we would get by her by 10:15, you know, it's still going to be terribly late by the time we would get back from, you know, especially if we did end up buying it. Let's do these. Let's get back on frame. We would really get back late. And on a Thursday night, my boyfriend is not a nighttime person. I very much am, so that wouldn't bother me. Oop, not a line. That wouldn't bother me at all, but yeah, I knew that would not be his cup of tea, especially if he had to get up for work the next day, which I don't blame him. That would not be great. So, I talked to her some more, and I said, well, if you needed it gone by Saturday, could we possibly come Friday night? And she goes, oh, yes, that would work out great. And so we planned after my boyfriend gets off work at 2:30, so, or 2 o'clock. So he usually gets here at like 2:30 or so. So I thought, well, if we left between 2:45 and 3, say 3 o'clock, we could be over there a little after 4:30. You know, maybe it would take a half hour to look at the car, you know, pay for it if we take it, and all of that good stuff. And then I'm like, yeah, but wait a minute, she works till 10. It's still not going to work. And she said, well, my dad said he would take off work and come over to the house and be there for you. And I'm like, oh, awesome. Great. I really wanted this car. And so I talked to my boyfriend about it, and he begrudgingly gave in. I don't think he wanted to go at all, but he did for me. He is a sweetheart and treats me so well. So I kept in constant contact with her. I told her that we would probably be arriving over there by her house by like 4:30ish. And she says, that's fine. She says, my dad plans on being there by 3:30. And I said, okay, that sounds good. Well, by the time we got going, and we figured we should probably get some gas, because driving that far out there and then coming all the way back is going to take a bit of gas. So we actually got kind of a late start. So I messaged her back about that. And she is, of course, by this time at work, but I don't know where she works or anything. But she must have access to her phone, because she was replying back to me the entire time. So thank God. So, yep, I said, well, we're going to be a little bit late. And she goes, oh, that's fine. You know, no problem. My dad will be there. I'm like, awesome, awesome. I was just so excited. So excited. You just can't imagine how excited I was to get a new car. Well, new to me anyhow. And it was a really nice looking car. Let's go in. Let's see. Maybe we should add some more yellow. And so we are on our way. And so, yeah, this is kind of a trip for us. GPS said it would be about an hour and 40 minutes to get there. So we're driving and driving and driving, and I'm just all excited. My boyfriend, not so much, but I'm all excited. And he took the plates off of his car so that we had plates to put on it in case we, you know, did get it, and there was a good possibility that we were getting it. And we are, here the story changes. We are about halfway there already. And I get a message from this gal, and all she said was, the car is sold. And my heart just dropped. And I just stared at my phone, and I messaged her back, and I said, what? I said, we are already halfway there, and you said, you know, that it pretty much was ours. You know, I said, I'm pretty sure that I was your first person to contact you about this. And she goes, I'm really sorry. And I said, what happened? And she said, well, my dad's friend drove by and seen it, and her dad sold it to this friend of his. And I thought, that is one of the rudest things I think that I've ever had happen to me, because her dad knew we were going to be there at 4:30. And it was, I forgot what time that was already by then, but still, he knew we were, you know, halfway there. And let's go in with the light blue. So yeah, he goes and he sells this to his friend. And I am just dumbfounded. I could not believe it. Where am I at here? So I sat there for a little bit, and I told my boyfriend, and he didn't say anything. He's not much of a emotional person, and even if he is upset about something, he doesn't show it at all. And like I said, he wasn't real gung-ho about this car anyhow, like I was. I don't know why. It always seems like the vehicles I find he doesn't like, and then these 20-year-old vehicles that he finds on Craigslist, you know, he seems to think that they're great. But anyhow, so he says, well, might as well turn around. And I said, well, I'm waiting for a reply back from her. I didn't, you know, I was hoping it was just a hoax. Maybe she was pulling my leg, even though inside I knew better. So we're on a 4-lane, because we're going all the way to Green Bay on a 4-lane highway. And so he finds a place to turn around. And he says, well, it was where there was a short road after we turned around. There was a road, short, road there. He says, do you want me to pull over here and wait for a little bit? And I says, well, I guess so. Let's see what she comes back with. And I'm waiting, and I'm waiting, and I'm waiting. And no reply. So finally, by this point, I am just fit to be tied. I am furious. I am fuming. And, on top of that, I was just so disappointed. I felt like crying. When I get angry or, well, of course, upset, I cry. I am a crier. So, that's all I wanted to do was just sit there and cry. But I didn't. Close, but I didn't. And so I said, well, yeah, I guess you might as well go back. She's not answering me back. And like I said, she seemed like such a sweetie. And I think, all in all, I think she is. Because finally she came back and, in the message before, she told me what her dad had done. And so then she just came back and she just said, I'm sorry. Well, it's your dad that should be sorry. I can't believe you would do that to somebody. And it was his daughter's car. And then his friend comes by and he just ups and sells it to him, knowing we were coming. It'd be one thing if, we were just going from like here to Wausau, which is it's under a half hour. It's like 20 minutes away. That would be upsetting enough to have a car sold out from under you. To me, it's usually first come, first serve, ain't it? I guess it doesn't have to be, but most of the time it is. But then to travel all that way, only to have to turn around and come back without a vehicle. Yeah, needless to say, I was pretty bummed out that night. I did not color. I did not diamond paint. I didn't do much of anything but stare at the TV. I was that bummed out. And I know it's only a car. But like I said, I get really excited about stuff like that. And I shouldn't get myself so excited over something that's not a for sure given yet. I hope this isn't too shadowy. I just have my light on underneath my desk here today because of the sun shining in and having to turn or shut the blinds. And so I just turned the light on under my desk. So I hope, again, this isn't too shadowy. I didn't put the light up on my phone that I'm recording with today. I kind of forgot. I wonder if, well, too late now, I guess. I'm pretty much halfway done with this. Anyhow, back to my story. So yeah, really bummed out. I didn't even eat supper that night. I was just depressed. And when a person has depression to begin with, even though it's pretty well managed with meds now, you don't need stuff like that in your life. It kind of hits people like us a little bit harder, I think, than the normal person. Let's go back in with the yellow and do these. I am going to get this yet. It still seems backwards to me how I got to move. So, yeah. That was my story for the week. Unfortunately, it was not a good story. It was a very disappointing story. So the car that I'm driving that is his is a 2003 Grand Am. And I like it. It's not a bad car. and it handles really nice. It's got its own issues and stuff too. It's, of course, a 2003. That's, 15 years old, almost 16 years old. But it drives pretty good. It handles nice. I'm really making you dizzy by turning this around, ain't I? I'm so sorry. What other color? Maybe we'll go with yellow on the outsides here. As long as I had that marker out. And so yeah, his 2003 Grand Am isn't that bad. And today on Facebook, again on Facebook, I was kind of leery. There was a 2003 Grand Am, very similar to my boyfriend's. My boyfriend's is a maroonish color. This one looked like it was a real deep blue. Didn't look like it had much rust. And it said 100,000 miles on it. And I'm like, what? And it was only $1,000. And so I'm like, what? This was this was right away this morning after I'd gotten up. My boyfriend is a very early riser, but my doggie sleeps with me, and she likes to get me up kind of early. So I'm up before 6 o'clock. He wasn't up yet because on the weekends he can sleep in a little. Normally he's up by 3:30 or so to get to work in the morning. And so I waited for him to get up, and then I waited just a little bit before I said anything because he knew I was so disappointed from the other night. And so I just said to him, I said, what year is your car, the Grand Am? And he says, 2003. And I said, oh, well, I said, there's a 2003 Grand Am for $1,000 on Facebook. He kind of looks at me and I go, I know. But this person is right in Rothschild, which is kind of conjoined. It's kind of like a suburb of Wausau. So it also is very close to us. And so I contacted him via Messenger. And I said, do you still have the car? And he says, yes. I said, is there anything wrong with it? And he said, the brakes need to be replaced. Well, when I asked my boyfriend about that, he said, well, the brakes, the rotors and everything, or the brake line, the lines. And so I asked the guy that, and he comes back with, he thinks it's either the lines or the master cylinder. So I'm like, to me, that sounded god-awful. I'm like, oh, that sounds like that would be a horrible thing to fix. No wonder he's selling it for $1,000. And my boyfriend, again, who was a mechanic for many, many years, said, oh, that wouldn't, that's not necessarily that bad. And this guy said he could fix the brakes, but he'd charge me $300 more. And I said, well, my boyfriend's a mechanic. I said he'd be able to, fix it. And I said, is there, anything else wrong with it? How much rust is on it, et cetera, et cetera. And he says, no, not much rust. I did notice in the photos that he had on Facebook, there looked to either be a lot of snow on the front end, or the paint was chipping off. And unfortunately, it is the paint. It's kind of pitted in the front, but what do you expect for $1,000, Cannot expect perfection, unlike that other car that I should have gotten. Can you tell I'm still upset about it? So we kind of went back and forth. My boyfriend is still kind of leery, of course, because it's a car he didn't find. At least that's just the way it seems to me anyhow. So, What else did he have me ask him? Oh, the size of the engine, and he never did get back to me with that. But I did say to him, my boyfriend, said, well, even if we wanted it and stuff, where would he be able to fix the brake lines? I mean, this morning, the wind chill, like I said, was like 10 to 15 below zero. It's not like you're going to be sitting out in the driveway underneath the vehicle trying to fix brake lines, He would need a heated car and, if at all possible, a lift. And we have neither of those. And the guy comes back, oh, I have a heated garage. You could, do it here if you want. And I said that to my boyfriend, and he's like, yeah. He goes, you'd have to bring all your tools around, and then you would forget something or find out that you need some other tool, and you'd have to run all the way back here to get it. And I go, yeah, that's true, So, I didn't say anything back to the guy. And he said, well, I could, fix the brakes. I could, see what's wrong, and I can fix it. Sounds like he knows quite a bit about cars, too. He was, I guess, selling this for a family member. And he says he could fix the brakes possibly today yet. And I'm like, oh, really? I said, and you would sell it to us for the same price, rather than adding that $300 on? And he said, yeah. Okay, this is getting more interesting. So I told that to my boyfriend. Well, in the meantime, because I says, he asked if you're, really serious about buying it. And, would you have the cash for it? And I'm like, yes, we'd have the cash for it, but we don't, we can't say for sure we'd buy it before we even see the thing. You don't very often buy something sight unseen, right? You want to not only see it, you want to take it out for a test drive. You're not just going to say, yep, we'll take it before you've even seen it. So, again, I told him, yes, we would have the cash, but we have to come see it first. He says, okay. He says, I'll be home all day. Hopefully, he said, probably because of the cold. But, so I'm like, okay. And right away, he messaged me back, gave me his address, another message. He even gave me his phone number. So I'm like, wow, this guy really wants to sell his car. I was like, okay, what else is wrong? He did tell me that the heat works great, but it only runs on high. So that's one other thing. And while right now, high heat probably sounds good, you wouldn't want that all the time. So told that to my boyfriend too, and he says, well, that's probably not that big of a deal. It's a part that wouldn't cost much, and it wouldn't be that bad to fix. So I'm like, okay. So here's this $1,000 vehicle with only 100,000 miles on it. Not a whole lot wrong with it. The biggest thing was the brakes, and if he was going to be willing to fix those, possibly today yet. It's like, Well, I did notice in the listing on Facebook, have any of you gone to Marketplace and then seen a listing and there was something listed and down in the description it said something in parentheses or brackets or something in faded letters, it said hidden information? Has anybody seen that before? I don't think I ever have. And so that's another thing that made me and my boyfriend, when he seen that, because he wanted to see the description on Facebook. And I says, well, I'm not sure if that is just, maybe hiding his contact info, that he didn't want out there. I said, I'm not sure. But I wanted to, because it said something about all that we could see then, even though the ad said 100,000 miles, after this hidden information on, you know, that was showing on the Facebook post, it said a plus sign and then the 100,000 miles, even though the title of the ad said 100,000 miles. So I wanted to confirm with him that it did in fact have just 100,000 miles on it. And that was a while ago. My boyfriend has gone to Wassa to the stores and stuff, get some groceries for himself, for his lunches and whatnot. Even though I went yesterday and could have very easily picked him up for him, but he didn't tell me he needed anything, so that's why I figured I'd do this recording while he was gone, because I still get real self-conscious when I'm doing a video and he's here. So, where was I? Oh, yeah. And then, getting lost in my story here. And then so I asked him about the 100,000 miles. And I'm not sure if you heard it while I was recording, but I got a couple dings on Messenger. So I am assuming that was him. Because for the longest time after I asked about the 100,000 miles, all he said was 100,000 plus. He says, I'm not exactly sure how many. I'll have to go out and check. I said, okay. So I waited and waited and waited. Got no answer. I'm like, okay. So finally, after about, I don't know, half hour, 45 minutes, I said, did you find out? And that's kind of where it is right now. So I have a funny feeling that maybe he drove it 100,000 miles. And that's not the total miles on the car, and that's why it's $1,000. So it's probably going to be another disappointment. I guess I'm just not meant to get another car. There is a place, it's called Dorchester. It's, I don't know, 45 minutes or so away. And he's a dealership. And all the time he has vehicles on Craigslist that are just so reasonable. And he also has a Grand Am. I think it's a year or two newer. And I can't remember how much it was for. I think it also was maybe $1,000 or $1,200. Looked in beautiful shape. I mean, beautiful. There's just one problem with it, and that's the fact that it is a two-door. I think we'll go back in with the dark blue here. Yeah, it's a two-door. And for me, I think, let's see. Or do we want to put, no, yellow's there. Blue's here. I always hate, it's one thing of mine. I hate putting two colors next to each other. I always have to have them spread out. Let's see. I think we'll go with the dark blue here anyhow, because then it'll have the dark out here. What was I saying? Oh, yeah. This car dealer and had another Grand Am. But yeah, it was a two-door. And for me, myself, I like the looks of two-doors. But I do have to take my granddaughter periodically, or I have to go pick her up from my daughter's work. If she's running late, I will meet her at where she works, and I will pick up Maddie. And so I have a car seat permanently in my car. And that would be just a little difficult with a two-door, you know. Plus, four doors are just handier if you put groceries in your back seat, or, you know, you want to put something back there. Plus, like my boyfriend pointed out too, you know, two doors, the doors are so much bigger, so they're so much heavier. I have had a four-door now for so long, I can't imagine going back to a two-door. I think, oh gosh, many, many, many years ago, I had a two-door, and I did really like it. But the vast majority of my life, I have always had four-door cars. And yeah, they're, especially when you have a family, they're almost a must. I know for the longest time, my daughter had a two-door, and it was a little neon to boot. And so she was getting little Maddie in and out of her car seat, out of the back seat all the time. When she was baby, it wasn't that bad because you just basically pick up the whole base, you know, of the car seat out of, or the whole car seat, I should say, out of the base that stays in the car, and you bring the baby in that seat. So, you know, you just push a button, it unlatches from the base in the car, and you bring the baby out. You know, still have to grab the diaper bag and any else, you know, any other things, but as far as, you know, getting her in and out of the back seat, it wasn't quite so bad. But once she got older and was out of that baby seat, it got to be a little more difficult because then, of course, you gotta undo the shoulder straps and the one that goes in between the legs and all of that jazz, and, you know, lift her out. And so, yeah, a two-door was getting to be real cumbersome. Plus, the vehicle was getting old, and it was starting to have its problems, too. You know, cars are just awesome, aren't they, until things start going wrong? Until they don't start. You know, cars really, really hate, of course, these cold temps. And when you try to start them, they're like, you ain't gonna make me start. Nope. I refuse. And as you're cranking on it, it's like, okay, fine. I'll give in, but I do it totally under protest. And so then it'll fire up. But yeah, for any of you Southerners, you don't know what that's like to go out into frigid, way below zero temps and have to start up a car so that you can come back in and warm up while the car is warming up, so that you're not going out and driving right away a freezing cold car where you can't even hang on to the steering wheel because your hands will freeze. It'd be nice to have one of those cars that have the heated steering wheel, and oh yeah, this car I could have got also had heated seats. Oh boy, that would be nice up here in Wisconsin. But yeah, it was not meant to be for some reason. I don't know. Maybe we were gonna have major problems, that God knew something that we didn't, and he was saving us from a big headache down the road. Maybe the engine was gonna go. At least that's what I got to tell myself. You know, and I can laugh about it now, but boy, like I said, I was furious. And when Lisa gets mad, you don't want to be around Lisa. I'm a pretty easygoing person, but yeah, when I get upset, watch out. Okay, what else should we do? I think I'm going to, because I didn't use dark green hardly at all now that I've seen in here, I'm going to make the bigger area dark green. And so we use yellow already. Got light blue, so we're almost going to have to make this dark blue also. Used quite a bit of dark blue in this picture, didn't we? Okay. I'm just jabbering away. I should have put more dark green in this picture. But, oh well, it is what it is, as they say. And then we'll be done with this. Excuse me. Now I'm gonna get my tickle in my throat. Take a drink. So yeah, we were thinking of maybe driving over to that auto dealership that is a little ways away. Even though they're closed today, we kind of want to go when they're closed, so you don't immediately have a salesperson coming out saying, "Can we help you?" Because, you know, then you typically say, no, we're just looking. And then they, you know, kind of keep an eye on you the whole while you're looking around the lot and stuff. I just hate that. So we thought we would go today while they were closed and just kind of drive around. Like I said, on Craigslist, he just has so many reasonable cars. Even though this Grand Am probably wouldn't work because of it being a two-door, it's a really good deal. It's in fantastic shape. And we have seen many other cars posted on Craigslist where his prices are just phenomenal. And we're like, okay, how can he have vehicles this cheap? You know, just doesn't make sense. Does he get vehicles from, you know, all the flooding in the south and whatnot? Does he get vehicles that have been flooded and then cleans them up and stuff, you know? That's what Bob was saying. And I'm like, you know, he's been in business for quite a while, though. If he was pulling something like that, I think he would have gotten found out by now. And I don't think he'd be in business any longer. Okay, and then we'll finally go in with the dark green and we will be done. So, you know, I think he's, you know, I don't know, but I would think he's on the up and up. He just must hunt around, find fantastic deals on cars and kind of passes that on to you because I imagine he has great turnover of his inventory because he is so reasonable. And that must work for him. You know, he beats out a lot of the competition because of his prices. And all in all, therefore, he probably makes more money even though he's selling them cheaper. So even though it is horrifically cold out today, we may take a drive over there, and depending on what that guy comes back with as far as the mileage on this other Grand Am. First, we were thinking of driving over to Dorchester and seeing what this dealer had out there before we even bothered going and seeing this other guy's car. And then we'd kind of know more what we're dealing with if there was something else we'd be interested in from this dealer, or, you know, if we should just continue to keep an eye out for the dealership's cars. I don't know. Like I said, I have a funny feeling he's going to come back with, oh, I just drove it 100,000 miles. It's actually got, you know, 200 and some thousand. That's probably what's going to happen. You notice I have a tendency to hold the cap in my hand. I always sit there with this around in my, where are you? Around in my other finger, or around my finger in my other hand as I'm coloring. I don't know why I do that. It's like, just put it down. Because, you know, they do kind of, you know, sit on the ends of the Cali arts. But to me, that just, I don't know. I guess that would work. I'm just so used to the Copics not parking on the ends and stuff that I never put them on the ends of my markers. I guess I never have. Because so many of them, they don't fit on the ends anyhow, so you can't park the caps on the other end of the markers anyhow. So, I know some of you really love doing that, but I guess I've just gotten to the point where I'm used to them not fitting on the ends, and so be it. I'll do that even with pencils. I know some of you do this and some of you don't, but if you have like 3 colors maybe that you're coloring with in a certain area of your picture, you hold all 3 of those pencils in your hand, you know, while you're coloring. And I do that because especially if you're blending and you're swapping out colors quite often, or shading, you probably swap out colors more often yet. This picture that I'm doing, it is a Jade Summers picture that I am doing with marker and then shading over with pencil. I am using my Holbeins, And Holbeins, if you've used them, are not a big blending pencil. They are more a layering pencil, and kind of like the polychromos, but yet they're softer than polychromos. They're kind of a in between them, and that's why I guess I wanted them, and I saved up a long time to get those. Same with my Copics. That's a story for another day, though. Anyhow, so once I get that other picture finished with the blending or the pencil over the marker, I'll have to show it to you and see how it looks at the end. Okay, so let's back out, and this is the finished picture. Now let's pick it up and see if you can see the gold foiling. Isn't that gorgeous? I just love how that shimmers with that gold foiling on there. Or this one is rose gold. So yeah, it turns out so pretty. It works best with mandalas, as you can see, or some kind of design. But it would work out, you know, pretty much with any type of picture, basically. Anyone that, where am I? Holy cow, I gotta get used to this yet. You know, pretty much any kind of picture you want to do it on. Just keep in mind, it can't be any bigger than what the foil size you have is. Now, this particular package that I got is 12 inches, so that's plenty big for, you know, any coloring book page. Some of the smaller ones, you know, would have to be more pocket-sized books. I don't think you could, you know, too easily splice some of it together and have it fit for a bigger page. That would be too difficult. So, but again, these are very widely available. You could even probably look at Walmart. I know they have some foiling, but I think it's adhesive foiling. And I don't believe that would work. It's a total different type of product. But a lot of the scrapbook sites online would have all of this. I'm trying to think, what is the name? Where they have so many good deals. I had gotten a number. Is it scrapbookpals.com? I think that might be it. Anyhow, you can do a Google search and search for the metallic foil. Again, this is Heidi Swap. It is by Mink, and I will link this in below. I will link this in the description below. I will leave a link to the Cali Arts for those few of you who do not have the set. This is the 100 set, so I'll link this, and also I think there is a 50 set of Cali Arts. And also I had mentioned the skin tone Cali Arts. Now I'm hoping I'm going to remember all this. I will leave links to all of that, along with the marker case I have, the laminator I am using, and I will also put a link in there for that Amazon laminator that I mentioned. That's only like 20 bucks, in case you want to go ahead and try this. Again, the biggest caveat is the picture has to be printed on a laser printer. After that, you're clear sailing, as long as you got some parchment paper or some other type of carrier paper to put it in your laminator. So I guess that's it for today. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't already done so, please consider subscribing to my channel and hit that bell so you're notified of any future videos. I do hope everyone has a terrific day, and as always, happy coloring.